So what is this token? It's the smallest individual unit. What is keyword? That is nothing but the reserved word, and I cannot able to change the meaning of these words. User can able to define her or his own data type by using fundamental data types. A symbolic constant is a name given to some numeric constant. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on C programming basic concept. I am Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to recall the things what I have discussed in my last session of this unit. So there I started with history of C program, along with that features of C program, along with that basic structure of C program and executing a C program. And dear student, please make a note here that from the examination point of view, features of C program as well as basic structure of C program are very important topic. But in my today's session, I'm going to deal with character set. That is nothing but C programming character set, as well as I'm going to deal with tokens. Now, directly I'm going to start with the today's concept C character set. So what is this character set? Here, the character sets are used to form a word. Now, you may ask me why I want to form a word. For example, if I want to specify any structure name or any variable name or any function name, I require word or I require character set. So here, the characters that can be used to form a words or a number and expression depends upon the computer on which the program runs. I required character set mainly to form word or number and expression. And the character in C are grouped into following categories. That means here character sets are made up of 4 categories, that is letters. I can able to consider the letters, and what kind of letter here? That is English alphabet, and it is small letter A to Z and capital letter A to Z. And digit. So what is digit? That is numbers, and it's going to start from 0 to 9. And special characters, even I can able to consider special characters like dollar, question mark, or exclamatory symbols, etc. and white space. So what is this white space? That is empty space or space between 2 words or 2 numbers are known as white space. And if I consider special character, I can have at the rate. Okay, these are the example for special character. Now, I'm going to start with C tokens. So what is this token? It's the smallest individual unit. Suppose if I want to write any program, I must have smallest individual unit, and I'm going to club all these unit together in order to form the program. So in a passage of text, individual words and punctuation marks are called tokens. Suppose if I make a sentence, and in that sentence, if I use words or punctuation marks, then it is known as tokens. So the smallest individual unit is also known as token. If I consider English language, then individual words as well as punctuation marks are called tokens. If I consider programming language, then smallest individual units are known as token. Now, so dear student, let me to consider simple example for token here that, okay, I want to construct house. To construct house, I required land. Along with land, I required money. Along with money, I required worker. That is nothing but manpower. Then I required all the materials. So all these things are, I'm going to treat as a single unit. Now, if I consider C program, to write C program, I want to club all the units together, and that is itself known as token. So the smallest individual units are known as token, and the C tokens are divided into 6 different types. One is keyword, constants, identifiers, strings, special symbols as well as operator. Now, C tokens are classified into 6 different groups: keywords, identifiers, constants, strings, operators as well as special symbols. Anyway, dear student, I'm going to discuss all those things in detail in my today's session itself. Now, I'm going to move towards keywords. So what is this keyword? Keywords are reserved word. So it is written by someone and it's kept in our library. And those are reserved words and they have their own meaning and their own purpose. Now, all the keywords have fixed meaning and these meanings cannot be changed. That means I cannot able to change the meaning. So here keywords are work like a building blocks for program statement. If I want to write any programming statement, then I must require keywords. And example for keywords are auto, break, case, character, double, float, go to, break, for, do, while, extern, void, unsigned. These are the example for keyword. So what is keyword? That is nothing but the reserved word and I cannot able to change the meaning of these words. Now, I'm going to have the identifier. So what is this identifier? Here, identifier refers to the name of a variable. Suppose if I want to give any name to the variable, then it is known as identifier or function and array. Now, suppose someone want to identify me, then how they are going to identify me? By the name. So what is my name? That is Revati. So what is identifier here? That is my name. And another way you can able to consider is which subject I'm going to handle. Based on that you can able to identify. So what is identifier here? That is nothing but the name given to the variable or functions as well as arrays. And what are the rules I need to follow while defining identifier? That is, the first character must be an alphabet or underscore. That means while writing identifier, I can able to use my first character as an alphabet or underscore. That means I'm going to begin with the alphabet or underscore. Then there must consist of only letters, digits and underscore. That means to form identifier, I can make use of letters, digits and underscore. And I can able to use only uppercase letters as well as lowercase letters. Along with that, I can able to use numbers, and I cannot able to use keywords as my identifier, and I cannot use white space between the identifier. Now for this, let me to write the example. That means what is my first rule? I can able to start with underscore. So I can able to write underscore name. This is valid identifier. And second one, I can able to make use of letter underscore digit. So number underscore 1. Even I can able to consider A to Z, 0 to 9 along with underscore. And I cannot able to consider keywords like do, while, int, float, auto, extern. These are the things I cannot use. And I cannot give white space between two identifier. For example, I cannot write number and 1. So I cannot give white space between two identifier. And dear student, please remember here uppercase letters as well as lowercase letter are different. That means those are treated as different. These are the rules used to follow while defining an identifier. Now I'm going to have the constant. So what is this constant? The name itself indicates that I'm going to have the constant value. So what is this constant? That is nothing but the fixed value. So constants in C refers to fixed value. That means there are certain time throughout the program I want to use fixed value. And in that situation, I'm going to use constant. And that do not change during the execution of the program. So whatever the value, I'm going to make it fixed, and that cannot vary or change during the execution of the program. And I'm going to have two type of constants, that is numeric constant and character constant. And if I consider numeric constant, I'm going to have the integer constant as well as floating point constant. And example for integer constant, int a equal to 10. And if I consider real, that is nothing but the fractional point constant, then I'm going to have float or double float b equal to 10.25. And if I consider character constant, I'm going to have two types, single character constant and string constant. So what is single character? For example, if I want to write the grade, for example, I'll write char equal to char C equal to A. So this is the example for single character constant. So I'm having only one character. And if I want to consider string constant, so character A of 5 equal to, I'll write Java or any other thing. Okay. So this is the example for string constant, and whatever the value I'm going to assign here, that remains same throughout the program. That means I cannot able to change the values here even during the execution of the program. Now I'm going to have the variable. So what is this variable? Vary. So a variable is a data name. For example, variable is nothing but the data name that may be used to store a data value. For example, suppose if I write int A. So here A is nothing but the variable name. It's nothing but the container. And this container can capable to hold different value. So what is this variable? It is nothing but the data name, and that is used to store the data value. For example, if I store 10 here, then a value 10. Instead of that, second time, if I store 20, the data value is 20, and it's nothing but a container capable to store different values. So a variable name may consist of letters. That means while defining variables, these variables may include letters, digits, and underscore character. Along with that, I want to follow certain rules. So what is my first rule? The variable name must be begin with underscore or letter. So dear student, if I consider second rule, then I can able to consider ASCII standard. That means I can able to make use of small letter A to Z and capital letter A to Z, along with that digits 0 to 9. Along with that, I can able to make use of underscore. Now, I can able to use uppercase, lowercase or significant, and I cannot able to use keywords as my variables, and I cannot able to give the white space between variables. So these are the rules I need to follow while defining variables. Dear student, moving on to the next topic, that is data type. So what is this data type? Here data types are used to identify particular data item or particular kind of item. For example, if I am having 10, then what is this 10? There is nothing but the whole number, there is nothing but the integer. And if I am having Java, so it is also another kind of data. Now, it is nothing but the string, or it's nothing but the collection of character. To identify particular type of data, I'm going to have data types. So here, see, data types are classified into three types, that is fundamental or primitive or basic data types, and I'm going to have the next type derived data types, and I'm going to have the next type, that is user defined data types. So primitive data types means what? These are the basic or fundamental data types, and this is supported by the C program. And suppose if I'm having whole number, then it is integer data type. If I will have any single character, for that I'm going to have character data type. Real number, floating point. For the real number, once again, it is double. And if I does not have any kind of return value, then it is void, and I'm going to have the Boolean value, that is true and false. In that time, I'm going to use Boolean data type, and these are the basic data types. And I'm going to have the derived data type. That means I'm going to construct these data type with the help of fundamental data types, and it is called derived data type. And what are the derived data type? I'm going to have arrays, functions, pointers, and reference. Anyway, dear student, we are going to study all these things in depth in my upcoming session. Now, if I consider user-defined data type, so what is this user-defined data type? User can able to define her or his own data type by using fundamental data types. Now, I'm going to have structure, union, class, and enumeration. These are the example for user defined data types. That means user can able to create her own or his own data type by make use of fundamental data types as well as derived data type. Now, I'm going to have how can I declare variables and what are the rules I need to follow while declaring variables. So, dear student, declaring variables means what? It tells the compiler about variable name and it specifies what type of data the variable will hold. For example, if I write int a, okay, what is my first step? It tells the compiler, that means it tells the compiler about what type of variable name. So what type of variable name? That is a. And it also tells which kind of variable, it is integer or whole number. First, it's going to tell what is variable name and next time it's going to tell what kind of variable name. These are the two things we have to remember. So, while defining any variable, first I want to specify the variable name, along with that I want to specify the data type. Now I'm going to have the declaration, that is syntax. Okay, so at the beginning I want to write the data type name. So data type name may be integer, float, character, double, or whatever you want, you can able to use. And v1, v2 up to vn are the variable name. So I can have n number of variable name. Now I'm going to have this symbolic constant. So what is this symbolic constant? A symbolic constant is a name given to some numeric constant. There are certain situations I want to give some name to the numeric constant. For example, I know pi value 3.1415. Now I want to specify the name. I know numerical value, but I want to specify the name. That is nothing but pi value. And this kind of declarations are known as symbolic constant. So, a symbolic constant is a name given to some numeric constant or a character constant or a string constant and any other constants. So, this is the name given to the character constant or symbolic constant or string constant. So, symbolic constant names also known as constant identifier. That means the symbolic constant also referred by the name constant identifiers and preprocessor directive hash define is used. Suppose if I want to declare any symbolic constant, then I'm going to make use of hash define directive and I'm going to specify pi 3.1415 and semicolon. Once again, hash define max 50. So these are the example. Now, preprocessor directives. That means to define any symbolic constant in my program, I'm going to make use of hash define directive and I'm going to have the syntax. So first I want to use hash define. This is nothing but my preprocessor directive. Along with that, I want to specify symbolic constant name. If I consider this example, pi as well as max are the symbolic constant name. Along with that, value of the constant. So what is the value of the constant here? It is 3.1415 and 50 are the value of the constant. Along with that, I'm going to have the example hash define pi, that is 3.141592, along with that gold rate 1.6, along with that max 500. So this is the way I can able to define symbolic constant in my program. So dear student, in my today's session I started with character set as well as tokens, and I hope in my today's session you got more information about C program, and let's meet in the next session with more information about input and output with C. That means how I can able to input the data and how I can able to output the data. These are the topic I'm going to deal in my next session. So don't forget to watch my next session. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.